Hello and welcome to another episode of Character Forge. My name is Tyler Owens and I'll be your character smith today. Joining me again is my wife Lee, who'll be drawing our character for us. And today we're going to be building a male Goliath. If you thought the last episode got a little silly, we're going full on meme today. I don't remember when I first encountered it, but I have on several occasions seen a meme that has several casters casting spells and ends with a burly melee character hitting someone with the text, "Muscle Wizard casts fist." And after having a good laugh, I had an idea. What would an actual muscle wizard look like? Could I build a competent wizard whose two highest stats were strength and constitution? And most importantly, what spells would I give him that could be considered casting fist? So that's what we're going to try to do today. First off, I'm going to start by saying that we're going to be building a level 4 wizard. This is important because one of the things we're going to be doing is taking the Tavern Brawler feat. This allows us to do a d4 plus strength damage with our fists rather than just the normal 1 plus strength damage. So we have to be at least level 4 to take this feat. Since we want the plus 2 strength bonus to make sure that we can be as muscly as possible, being a human with the variant to start with a feat won't work. Now, if we want our wizard to be able to keep pace with other characters, it'll be helpful to look at the closest analog, which would be the monk, to see what kind of damage their fists get. At 4th level, they also deal a d4 damage. At 5th level, however, they move up to a d6 damage, so we don't want to be any higher than 4th level either. So we're going to be making a 4th level wizard. With that set up, let's start rolling for our stats. Oh, get the dice in my hand. Okay, so our first stat is a 16. Nice. Our second is a 14. Then a 15. This is turning out really well. Yes, an 18. We'll be able to have a max strength. The dice are really liking me tonight. And our last one, a 10. Okay, good to see that our joke character doesn't have all-around amazing stats. One left, one roll left. And a 7. Yep. What's with me rolling 7s on the last roll of the build? That's 2 in a row now. That said, and with how great the rest of the stats are, I'm even more okay with the 7 than I was for Analia. Okay. So we want to make Strength and Constitution our highest stats. That means we'll put an 18 into Strength, which will bump it up to a 20 with our Goliath bonus. Constitution will get the 15, since the Goliath bonus will bump it up to 16.
18.
So yeah, bump it up to 16, and then our Tavern Brawler feat will bump it up again to 17 at 4th level. So 20 Strength, 17 Constitution. We'll put the 16 into Dexterity, because we want, our wizard who can be in the thick of things with high armor class. And we're more about physical combat than magical combat. Let's see, that leaves a 14 for intelligence, which is our spellcasting stat. And not the greatest, but that's not really the point of Muscle Wizard. Spellcasting isn't really the point of Muscle Wizard. We'll put the 10 into Charisma and the 7 into Wisdom, because Muscle Wizard does not really seem like the wisest career option for an adventurer.
Can you say this last again?
10 for Charisma and 7 for Wisdom.
Okay, thanks.
Alright. As I said before, we're building a Goliath. If you don't know, Goliaths are found in Volo's Guide to Monsters. If you're familiar with the biblical story of Goliath, you have a pretty good idea of their proportions. They're big, they're tough, they value strength and prowess. They also look really cool. They tend to have pale or gray skin, bald heads, and really cool face tattoos. Goliaths get proficiency with athletics. I mean, how often do you see a wizard with proficiency in athletics? That's great. And once per short or long rest, they can reduce the damage they take from a physical attack by a d12 plus their constitution modifier. It's kind of like they have sort of stony skin. Let's see. They also get a few things that help when you're playing in a more realistic campaign, like they increase your encumbrance limit, the amount of weight you can lift, push, or drag, and they make you acclimated to high altitude and cold climates. My groups mostly don't worry about those things, but if your group does, be aware of that.
I played a Goliath once where we did worry about that, and it was awesome not to have to worry about that.
From our race, we also learn Common and Giant as our languages. While we're here looking at the Goliath, let's give them a name. Goliaths have 3 names. A given name that is up to 3 syllables long. Let's go with Goolak. Oh, good. You got the apostrophe in there.
Of course I got the apostrophe.
They have a nickname given to them by their chieftains that highlights their great achievements or failures. We'll go with War Wizard. I'll leave it to you if you think that's an achievement or a failure. And a clan name, which must be at least 5 syllables long and end in a vowel. Okay, 5 syllables. We'll go with La Ko Ni Theshta. Yeah, Lakonitheshta. Goolak, War Wizard, Lakonitheshta. That sounds good to me. Nice and ridiculous for a muscle wizard. Let's go ahead and pick a background next. I think we're going to go with the Far Traveler background from the Sword Coast Adventure Guide. The Far Traveler gives us proficiency in insight and perception, which will be great to counteract the -2 that we get to each of those from our wisdom score. We also get proficiency with 1 musical instrument or gaming set of our choice. I'm going to go with the fiddle. It's just a funny image to me, a giant Goliath with a fiddle. Let's see. We also get to learn another language. I'm going to go with Infernal. The reason why we'll store away later for adding to the backstory. Let's see. As a Far Traveler, we also get the All Eyes on You feature. Basically, Goolak stands out as a foreigner and can use that to gain audience with people like nobles and scholars who might be interested in learning about his lands. Alright, let's see. We'll see what our class gives us now.
He just stands out, period.
Well, yes, but even more so than normal. As a wizard at 4th level, we will have access to 4 cantrips, as well as 4 level 1 spell slots and 3 level 2 spell slots. We'll have 12 spells in our spellbook, at least 8 of which must be 1st level spells. We'll pick those a bit later. With our intelligence modifier of +2 and our proficiency bonus of +2, our spell save DC will be 12. It's not great, but I've seen worse. Our spell attack modifier will be a +4, and let's see. As a wizard, we get a spell casting focus. I think I'll go with a blood red crystal that hangs on a short leather cord at his wrist. Again, more on that in a minute.
Which hand?
Right hand. Rounding off our equipment, I'll choose a quarter staff instead of a dagger. The dagger just doesn't seem like his style. And we also start with just some, like, robes. He'd probably wear, like, a gi or something, since he's a muscle wizard.
He wears robes, but for, like, a human, so they only come up to his legs and his thighs anyway, so it looks like a gi.
That's better. Yeah, let's go with that.
That's why I'm in design, right?
Yep, that's why you're drawing. Okay, let's pick our skills. So we already got athletics from being a Goliath, and we got insight and perception from our background. As a wizard, we get to choose 2 from Arcana, History, Insight, Investigation, Medicine, and Religion. I'm going to choose Arcana and Religion. We also get proficiency in Intelligence and Wisdom saving throws. Okay, looks like we just have one more thing to choose from our class before we get to picking our spells. At 2nd level, as a wizard, we get to choose an Arcane Tradition. I think for Goolak, I'm going to go with the School of Abjuration, as the protective spells will help him to be close enough to cast Fist. At second level, the School of Abjuration gives us a shield of twice our wizard level plus our intelligence modifier when we cast an abjuration spell once per long rest. And it can be recharged by casting abjuration spells outside of that. At fourth level, it will give us a shield with 10 hit points. Okay, now on to our spells. I've decided to focus on spells that approximate physical attacks, as well as spells which enhance Goliath in ways related to physical combat. As far as cantrips go, we'll take Shocking Grasp. That's, a touch spell, and there's not actually all that many touch cantrips. Blade Ward, kind of, protecting him from damage with that. Mage Hand, because while Mage Hand can't actually do damage, you still could technically punch someone with it if you wanted to for flavor. And even though it's a garbage spell that no one should ever take, I'm taking True Strike. And if you wonder why True Strike is a garbage spell, just look at it and really think about it. And if you still don't get it, there are tons of other YouTube videos that talk about why True Strike is a garbage spell.
It literally conjures garbage. No. That's garbage order. My bad.
For our 8 first level spells, we're going to start with Arms of Hadar. It's a really good fit thematically. Basically, a bunch of arms appear out of the ground and beat up any creatures around you. It's probably as close to literally casting fist as we're going to get. Wait. Arms of Hadar is exclusive to warlocks? Yeah, I think I'm going to have to Nick Fury that decision. So we've got Arms of Hadar. We'll pick up Catapult from Xanathar's Guide to Everything. Catapult is a fun little spell that lets you pick up an object between 1 and 5 pounds and hurl it forward with a ton of magical force. It does a frankly ridiculous amount of damage if it hits something. It's pretty funny. We'll go with Jump, which lets us jump really far, sticking with that enhancing Goliath theme. We'll go with Mage Armor, so that he can, have armor, because wizards don't have armor. We'll do Shield, both because it's an abjuration spell that can power our shields, and also because it helps, again, with the AC of being able to be in the thick of things fighting. We're running out of spells that really fit the theme. Let's see. We'll go with Absorb Elements. I think that fits him being a Goliath. Just this ability to, take less damage from elemental spells and redirect it back to other people. Long Strider, which gives him additional movement. And Expeditious Retreat, which also gives additional movement options to us, just only when you're running away, essentially.
Muscle Wizard does not run away.
Well, probably not, but,
Maybe his friends do.
Yeah.
Looking out for the little guy.
Yeah. Okay, so now on to our second level spells. Let's see. We're going to take Maximilian's Earthen Grasp from Xanathar's Guide to Everything. Essentially, a giant earth fist appears from the ground and grabs at people. So that's another good way for Muscle Wizard to cast Fist. We're going to take Enlarge/Reduce, so we can always just use the Enlarge half of it and make our enormously huge Goliath even bigger. It also deals an extra D4 on damage when you hit with it, so that'll additionally help our ability to punch things. We'll take Hold Person. Yeah, that seems like a pretty good physical spell type to me. And this is where it gets a little hard. You know what? I'm just going to take Dragon's Breath because it's a really heckin' cool spell. And it fits the theme of enhancing himself, not necessarily for melee combat, but like breathing on somebody's a melee thing, right? You have to be pretty close to somebody to breathe on them.
Muscle Wizard would never be allowed in any sports.
Yeah, he really wouldn't.
Muscle Wizard needs to lay off the magical steroids, man.
Okay, at 4th level, we get, with an intelligence modifier of +2, we get to choose 6 spells to prepare each day. So we're going to go with Arms of Hadar, obviously. We're going to go with Mage Armor. We're going to go with Enlarge, Maximilian's Earthen Grasp, Jump, and Shield. And with that, I think we're done mechanically defining Goliath. Let's talk about his backstory. The Lakuni Theshta have a dark secret. Ages ago, the leaders of the Lakuni Theshta made a dark pact with the evil god Lakesh, in which their tribe would gain access to his power in the form of warlock pacts in exchange for blood sacrifices. No one now remembers the calamity that drove the leaders to such a course of action, normally antithetical to Goliath ideals of self-sufficiency and fair play. But ever since the dark times passed, the tribe has been forced to maintain this pact with Lakesh. They tried once or twice to separate themselves from him, but doing so only brought his wrath upon them. Children born to the Lakuni Theshta have about a 20% chance to be born holding a small blood-red crystal. This crystal is Lakesh's blood, and signifies that he has chosen the child to become a warlock. At this point in time, only the tribe elders and the warlocks of the tribe know about the pact with Lakesh. The people just know that babies who are born with the crystal are taken from their families at a young age to be trained to be warlocks. Goliath was one such child born with the crystal, and so spent his formative years being trained to be prepared to be a warlock when he came of age. Part of that training was learning Infernal. He was told that it was just something that every warlock needed to know. However, when he was told when he came closer of age where his power really would come from, where his pact really would be going to, Goliath refused. He wasn't going to pledge to some dark god. He argued that any power that they could get from Lakesh could be obtained through normal arcane study. And he even proved this by learning to cast Arms of Hadar without Lakesh's influence. See, there's my in-character justification for why I'm taking a warlock spell.
If you come up with stuff like this when you go to your DM and fall on your knees and go, please let me have this warlock spell for my wizard, they're more likely to give it to you.
True story. So he refused to believe that his tribe could not shake off this dark pact. He left on a journey to study magic and find a way to break the curse on his tribe. As he traveled, though, he found that he actually wasn't that good at casting more traditional spells. I mean, spells that other wizards cast with ease, like Firebolt, completely eluded him. But he did find much more success with much more viscerally physical spells. Spells that helped him to excel at what he was already naturally good at, punching things. He began using the crystal of Lakesh's blood as an arcane focus as a further snub to the dark god. I'm going to use magic, and I'm even going to use magic around your crystal, but it's not going to be your magic. And that's where he would hook into the campaign, searching for knowledge of how to throw off the dark god's chains that hold his people in subjection. He's been traveling for about 4 years at this point, and he has not heard from his tribe in that time. He hopes that they're doing all right, that one warlock running away has not caused Lakesh's wrath to come upon them. If he lets himself think about that too much, he feels a pretty deep guilt about leaving them, honestly, but he tells himself that it will ultimately be for the best. And with that, I think we're pretty much... Hit points! Right. Somehow I always manage to forget hit points are a thing I need to figure out for a character. Those of you paying attention in the last episode might have noticed that I never actually gave Analia any hit points. So I'm going to have to pay more attention to making sure to do that from now on. Let's see. At first level as a wizard, we get 6 plus our Constitution modifier hit points, which in Goliath's case means 9. At subsequent levels, we can either roll, or we can take half of the d6 plus 1, plus our Constitution modifier. In this case, I think I'm just going to do the half plus 1, so that's 4 plus our Constitution modifier of 3 hit points every level. So 3 level ups of that would bring us to 40 hit points at level 4. That's not bad for, normally super squishy wizards. Wizards are so squishy. They are if I remember correctly, they're the only class that uses a D6 for their hit die.
I think that's correct. That might be wrong, but I think that's correct.
Yeah. Because I know, warlocks use a D8, and I think even sorcerers. If there's another, it's probably sorcerers.
That might be right.
Anyway, so, 40 HP at level 4 is not bad for a wizard.
I wish I had that many HP with my wizard. Who's level 5 even.
Yeah. And now I think we're done building Goliath. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Let us know what you liked about it and what you think we can improve on. Thanks again to Lee for drawing Goliath for us, and we'll put up a finished product. I don't know what the finished product looks like at the moment, but just looking at the sketch, I'm sure it's going to be great.
I can't wait to decide what color his sweet tats are going to be.
Yeah. So join us next week as we build an orc of many trades. And until then, keep those forges lit.